Now, how do you decide on who to hire? How do you go? Do you advertise for people, or is it word of mouth?
It's mostly word of mouth. Um, there was a fellow, what was his name? Oh, I think Colonel Brown. He had an important job in the city of St. Louis, and black man, and he was a regular customer for years. And I know he knew one of our ad salesmen pretty well, and I got to talking to him quite a bit. And I said, we really haven't had any success trying to hire black people. And he said, well, I know somebody that could use a job, and that person turned out good. And then it just ballooned from there, and now we have maybe a dozen black people. And I give Colonel Brown all the credit. He's deceased now, but he knew solid people. And our my wife Dottie can't get over how good our black workers are.
Great.
And so there has been a turning point in black culture that has really produced wonderful people. And it's a shame that that there are segments of the black population that haven't gone along and improved. But most people have the ability to categorize and memorize things. It just takes training.
Sure.
And that's true of whether it's a black kid or a white kid. And it takes a certain mindset, and that's where education comes in. And I'm not going to knock the educational establishment, but I personally think that most people are better off having a job when they go to school than people who just rely on their scholarships and what have you, and their parents to get them through. Because I knew quite well a professor out at Washington U who they did a study and found out that 10 years after graduating from college, that the C student and the B student were doing as well as the A students, except for medical and maybe legal lawyers, where they have to have a photographic mind and they have to really be intelligent. You can't be dumb to be a doctor.
No.
But the average B student and C student usually is more sociable than some A students are not sociable. Not all, but some. And so this fellow talked to me quite a bit, and I realized that grades are not everything. And to hear that from a professor who was the vice chancellor, mind you, of Washington U, saying this, and Bill Danforth is right there, and he's agreeing, and he said they spent $100,000 on this study that showed that the C students were doing and the B students were doing as well 10 years later. So they spent another $100,000 getting another company to do the same study, and they had the same results. So the reasons are that most B students are more active socially because the A student is so focused on his grades that he can't possibly, so that they don't go out for any sports, they don't do any campus activities to speak of. We're talking about some A students now, not all.
Not all. No.
Now the A students that do well are the A students who, besides being A students, they are sociable. And being sociable really is important in today's world, or any world. Who wants a bookworm for a worker?
Yeah, right.
And so that's what, by the way, we have an educational assistance
Now, what is that? I've heard about that.
has nothing to do with grades.
What is
The
it?
only thing we ask is that they maintain certain number of credit hours, like 12, so that they could be considered full-time students. And they have to be available to work. I think this story is 18 hours a week during school, and they have to, we do allow them to not be working during final exams, for instance. So you have to be a little flexible there. But we have, I think right now, just 13 workers on educational assistance.